Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we had quite the battle. There was unexpected turn of events. There was some drama, things I'd never seen in all the years that I've been commentating. World records fell, multiple pulls for the win. Came down to the very last deadlift. Joy, wow, what a freaking show. So we're going to recap this battle, walk through it. I guess one of the storylines, and I'm sure you've talked about it a million times ad nauseum, but we'll have to touch base on it again. You dropping down to the 57s. Let's talk about the cut. You had spoken earlier that it was relatively easy. Now, the last time we talked, you felt good. You were walking around body weight under 57 kilos. The last couple days leading into it, how was that part of the cut for you?
I decided to cut to 57 weight class when I saw Agatha won Sheffield for the first time. And I do it only for the qualification for Sheffield, of course. And yeah, it was easier than what I think. And we start cutting afterwards last year in June, and only cut down calories. And see,
A lot of cardio.
yeah.
Oh, really?
No, not a lot. Not a lot. Only some bike session and steps, but nothing impossible.
Right.
And yeah, we don't need to do a water cut.
That's huge. I think that'll shock people. There was no water cut. You just walked in there underweight.
Yeah, yeah.
And she also had breakfast and something for lunch
I mean,
yesterday.
so it was comfortable. It was comfortable. Now, powerlifters rarely do any cardio. Like, I know you're saying not a lot, but even to do a bike session probably sounds crazy to most powerlifters, right?
Yeah, I know.
I think it was 2 most of the time, 2 bike sections
A week, yeah.
per week,
Yeah, sometimes 3.
walking in the mountains.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to sound like Rocky.
At least you have a nice view.
Yeah, but I work as a nurse, so I do a lot of steps at work, so it helped me, of course.
And how many calories were you on coming in?
I think around
1,700 or so. 1,700. Yeah,
Yeah.
around
maybe.
1,700.
Okay. So it's manageable anyways. I mean, you hear like Shell doing 1,200. And it's like, my man, how are you even... he announced when he came on the podcast, yeah, we're all good here at 66. I'm done. I'm moving up. I'm going to start eating some food. I'm like, God bless, you earned it. So is that surprising for you to hear that she dropped down? It was that easy?
No, not surprising.
And you're comfortable at 57, obviously.
More comfortable at 57 than I am trying to be 63.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just not a 63, but also I know I'm quite tall in the 57 weight class. So when I dropped down from the last Worlds at 63 to Nationals at 57, like Sara, I just dieted all the way down to 57. That was really easy. Although this time I thought, instead of dieting all the way, why don't I try a water cut so I can keep eating more? But I think it's actually better and easier to diet all the way. You have so much more control over it.
Really? So you switched it up and you didn't like the water cut?
Nah, absolutely not.
Was that the first time you've had ever water cut?
No, but I don't think I've done it since like 52 days. So I can't actually remember any old experiences.
So you were doing it as a 52 though?
Yeah, I think a couple of times I did, yeah.
Because you were like obviously a world champion at 52. So it worked for a little bit anyways, but it's tough. The problem with a water cut is you can have a phenomenal prep, be super strong, and if something goes wrong with your water cut on like the last 2 days, it goes out the window. Unfortunately. And then the whole freaking and everyone who saw your amazing prep is like, well, I mean, not yourself, you don't pulse, but
I know what I did in the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw what I did.
Exactly. For yourself, not posting, is it you're not into social media, or is it actually tactically you're keeping your cards close to your chest so opposition doesn't know where you're at?
I just can't be bothered. Honestly, it's not on my mind at all. I go to the gym, I have a great time, and then I do the same the next day. I don't need to report it every day. Guys, if I tell you how many times I have a good session, you'll get sick of me. So
Fair enough. And probably mental health wise, it's nice and easy too. Takes the stress off. Speaking of stress, okay, let's talk about going into the competition. How did you guys feel about it in terms of the pressure, in terms of the eyeballs on it? Because I could say for myself, there's a couple things moving in motion here. We have so many world champions, yourself multiple time, obviously Natalie Richards, Jad Jacob. You're moving down. You won world championships as a junior. You won international competitions in the open. It was a star-studded cast. However, not everybody was at 100%. There was murmurs. Natalie Richards wasn't 100, but she wasn't as low down as she was at U.S. Nationals. Where was she? We weren't sure. Jad Jacob had alluded that she might not be 100, but again, not exactly nothing you could look past by any means. And by the time the last polls come around, she's pulling for the win. So, how did you guys feel going into this in terms of your confidence levels, in terms of the pressure, knowing how talented a field this was?
I had more pressure last year at Worlds than this year. Yeah, I don't know why. But last year, maybe for the qualification for the World Games, I don't know. But I had a lot of pressure and l'ho vissuta un po' peggio.
Yeah, I can tell from the coach side that for me it was the same, because last year we went out of Euros winning against Chiara, of course.
Right.
After many battles, and it was like strange in a way, coming out winning there, and then you go into Worlds, you see Megan Scanlon doing a great performance at US Nationals, then you see Alba rising up, and you can't know yet where she is at, because she also had fake openers in the sheet and so on. So I can say it was the first time that we were competing at such a level. So the pressure was really high, because after many years competing, then we had South Africa when Leah missed weight, and we thought, okay, maybe we can play for the medal. Then it didn't work as expected. Then we say 1 year in the 69, and then you're back, and you're there fighting for the medal, World Games on the table. So that was really tough. Here in the 57, it was different, because we already did hit big numbers in competition, and I was very worried of Joyce Deadlift.
Yeah, I mean,
and also
yeah, we'll get to that, but yeah.
And also for the other girls, but I said, okay, we are playing at that level, because I thought, okay, world record is 519.5, we can hit that number. So it was like more prepared for it. Also from a mental point of view, we said, okay, we can hit these numbers, the numbers that we need. We are really aware of that. So it was in a way easier, and that's basically it. And we also spent a lot of time speaking about what we wanted to do, visualizing what we wanted to do, and we were really on point for this.
Leading into this, some insiders were anticipating a big performance. Obviously, you end up winning and breaking a world record, so you delivered. But did you feel pressure in that regard, that some people were picking you as the favorite? Here's the thing. When you go against Megan Scanlon, if whoever's the favorite bears the burden of living up to expectations. And that's difficult.
That's definitely.
Athletes have spoken about that, the difficultness about that. Did you feel that? Now, I know there was a poll online, and Jad Jacob was the favorite, slightly though.
That honestly, we spoke about it in the hotel when Sara told me, okay, Jad is first in the SBD Sheffield Post, so that's perfectly fine for me.
Yeah. I know some people like, nah, are you insulted? It's like, no, far from insulted. Let her bear the burden of the pressure.
Yeah. When I heard the podcast you made about the Worlds preview, and everybody was saying Sara is favorite, I was like, shit, that's not good.
Yeah. So when you guys heard that, let's talk about this a little bit. So maybe it's for the first time for a world title. You're listening to preview shows, and we have the insiders who've done all the scouting. They're like, thinks Sarah's probably the favorite. And you're like, oh my gosh, like the expectations. Now, I know the poll said Jad, she's a returning world champ. Not everybody's doing scouting where they're looking at lifts or seeing where everyone's at. So returning world champ, it makes sense. But you were very close even on that poll. Did that change knowing you're coming into a world championship? You hear someone like freaking Matt Gary, or actually Matt Gary did not pick him against Joy, but other people like that'd be crazy. But Eric Helms, Rory, whatever, saying, I think maybe Sara. The pressure-wise.
Well, it was, at least from my side, it was tough because it's something new for us. For Sara, it's something new. So it was a little bit of a burden, but as I told you before, it was something we were kind of prepared of, because when you post a triple to 195, okay, she weighed it a bit more than 57, of course, when she hit that triple. But of course, it is something you do expect. So we were prepared for it, but as I told you, when the SPD Sheffield came out, I said, okay, we can like leave this burden to Jad.
Right.
And that's good. It is more what you tell to yourself that matters in that moment than what you do here. You want to believe, okay, the burden is on her, fine.
Did you feel anxious before the competition?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
And what was the source of your anxiety?
Qual è stata
La fonte dell'ansia.
I want to win, obviously. And I know that the Joy and Jed can beat me if they have a good day. So, yeah, obviously, I got the anxiety. But it's a world champ, so...
Yeah, it's good. That's always going to be the case. So going into this, I don't know if you guys watched the live stream yet, but I mentioned, all right, you're building up a lead. And I say, if anyone's going to catch you at the end, it'll be Joy with her deadlift. And foreshadowing, we'll get to deadlifts in a second, but you load up and holy smokes. I mean, there were some anxious moments, and I'll get your guys sitting in the back having to watch. I can't imagine what that probably feels like. But coming into this, Joy, what was your expectations? You have some old faces that you battled before. I mean, you've been around the block with a lot of battles.
I mean, I spun the block with a 57.
That you spun the block a few times around. So how were you feeling coming into this?
Fine.
Yeah.
So I wanted to win. I wanted to do my best. I wanted that to be good enough to win. I thought I had I knew I had the winning total in me, within my reach, but I knew other people I was lifting with also did. So it was really nice to lift with Sara, nice to lift with Jad, nice to lift with Natalie. I've never lifted against her, so that was really fun. And actually, I wanted to win. I'm not sad that I didn't, but actually it's very refreshing to have a new face as the world champion. Mm-hmm. A weight class can get stale, so it makes it really exciting to have someone new like bearing the flag and representing us.
I remember, sorry, were you guys going to say something?
I was wanted to say that it's really good also for the mood of the competition to see Joy smiling all the time. It really gives a good mood. Yeah. And I love it when I do see you coming out on the platform smiling. It really brings a good mood. So that's very good. I really appreciate it.
It's funny because her nickname's the Terminator, and the Terminator never smiles. However, it's suiting because she also never gets rattled. At least on the surface, it doesn't appear, because you are always going to be you regardless of scenarios. On the commentary for the stream, I said, I remember back in 2017 when you emerged in Belarus, oh my gosh, I have met, you leveled up and started collecting medals, etc. back in 2017. And we're 2025, and you're still here pulling for gold, giving everybody an amazing show. How do you feel in terms of all these years later, entering a new battle? Are you still feel inspired? You still have the love for the game, or does it feel different?
No, I always have the love for the game. I can't even explain the love for the game that I have. It's just always a pleasure, a really enjoyable experience. Powerlifting is just something that I just lifts my spirits all the time. It's not a chore, it's not a burden, it's not a job. You know, I come to powerlifting and I know I set my goals. There's no one I have to answer to. So whatever happens, it's for me to be pleased about rather than, you know, living up to someone's expectations or someone else's requirements. I don't mind. I don't care if people have expectations or there's, you know, a drama around me or any kind of pressure. I'm not paying attention. I'm here for myself, and I always have been. And I think that's why I've managed to stick around for as long as I have, because I know what I get from powerlifting.
And that's where, like, again, you know, you don't pay attention to social media. You don't pay attention to the hype. And mentally, it's probably so much easier for you. Like, you're not going to burn out this way. You know, you probably have no idea who was picking who or whatever the heck. Or did you, or no? Were people...
I did have an no, I am on social media. I just can't be bothered to post a lot of things. But I knew Sara coming down from the 63s and having already put up big totals in the 57s. Why shouldn't she be the favourite? But I also knew that even if people aren't picking me, I know the training I've done. I know what I'm capable of. So I don't need people to say it for me.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah. And having come into this, is anything changed for you? Is this something you've developed over the years because you have been in the World Championships for so long? Were you always like this, or is this something that you've developed over time as an experienced athlete?
I'd say I probably developed this sort of way after my first year and a half of powerlifting. So when you start something new, you know, you're really excited about it. You want to do everything perfect, do everything right. You know, you never want to have a bad session. And, you know, before I'm talking about when I first started, if I had a bad session, I'd be in a bad mood. Now, not only, like, I've never had a bad session in the last, I don't know, 8-9 years.
Really? Is it because you view it not as a bad session, or?
I think that's it. But, you know, I always, at the end of my session, I rate it to myself out of 10. It's always between 8 and 10. And also, if I've had a bad moment in my session, I forget it really quickly. I'm quite fickle, guys. So, you know, bad moments, they don't stick with me for a long time. And also good moments, they don't stick with me for a long time because I know I'm going to have another good moment. I don't need to hold on to a past good moment.
You've had a few in powerlifting, huh?
Yeah.
I've had a few. And does it feel the same, like going into the World Championships, and you've been doing this for so long, when you arrive at a World Championship, I tell some people, because I've been commentating since 2016, and people ask me, like, does it still feel the same when you sit in the booth and you hit the platform and, like, you walk in the back and there's, like, some tension, and everyone's like, oh, it's about to begin, and I could feel it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a good battle. And I could still feel it after almost 10 years of doing commentary. Every session, every year, it hasn't left me, and I'm thankful for that. And I hope I never sit down in the booth and it's old hat. You know, it's just more of the same, and it doesn't feel special anymore. You've been doing this for so long at the top end in so many battles. Does it still feel the same?
Don't know the answer to that question. I mean, I know that, like, what you've just described, I don't feel that. I don't sense that. I don't feel any sort of tension or drama, or I don't know, like we're sitting on the edge of our seats in the warm-up room.
Now, you would classically, this was like trademark, reading a book, lollipop.
Yeah, I mean, the flights are so short now, I don't have time for it.
Yeah,
no
that's
time.
true, that's true.
The lollipop is crazy. When I saw her coming out from bench, lollipop. And
Yeah. This is trademark. Yeah. But so not like fair enough in terms of like because this is me, I'm excitable. We might not have the same personalities how we approach something, but has your approach changed, like, for you? Does it feel different for you, or is it still the same?
I mean, at least the last 5-6 years, it's just been an enjoyable time, and that's really the overriding feeling I get from being in competition. So in the warm-up room, it's just about having a good time there and then moving that to the platform.
Yeah, fair enough. And you guys, how did it feel for you in the warm-up room? You guys have a bit of a story, too, what was going on in the warm-up room. We didn't find out. So the warm-up for squats was a little different. I'll get into like Jad Jacob and what you witnessed. And then, of course, it transpired and the rest of the world found out what happened later on. But Jad passing out on her third squat. A little scary at the moment for everyone watching. And then we'll continue on. We'll walk through the day. But if you would have told me after watching her pass out on her third squat, when she decided to continue, which like it's crazy, the heart on that young lady. But I would have thought, well, they'll lower her numbers and she's out of it. And the fact that no, they did not. And no, she was not. And the fact she was, okay, load to like, you know, get a good total and maybe solidify a silver. Be careful, Joey's coming in, but you're going to pull for gold. But like the fact these ladies are all like, nah, a silver, a bronze, be damned. They're gunning for you. They're gunning for the world title. Like, it's insane. I'm glad you guys did it. But we'll back it up. The warm-ups for squats. Tell me how warm-ups for squats felt for you, and then you could tell me what you witnessed with Jad. But how did your warm-ups feel?
During the warm-up, I feel so good, so strong. Yeah, the squat was perfect, and I feel so strong. When I was going to do my first attempt, I saw Jed pass out near to me, and I really think that she cannot compete, and I was so sad for her. Then she get up and go for the squat, and she and she did 182.5, and that was unbelievable. And then she passed out
Again, yeah.
And I thought, okay, now she have to stop, and I really can't believe that she can continue and try to win the competition, to do her third attempt with a lot of kilos. She is crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's so you had witnessed it and you said if that was Sara.
I think that what happened really gives you an idea of how beast she is, because she really has the strength and the heart of lion. And I think if Sara did something like that, I would have been really scared. And I was scared, of course, as well for Jad, because it's something I've never seen. You see it happening twice. The battle is really on a high level, pressure, really high level kilos. And it was not so far from what she did at Girl Power, because I think at Girl Power she did 185 squat and she did just 2.5 kilo less. So the performance was overall good.
Yeah.
I mean, she pulled a crazy third attempt in the deadlift, but if she didn't pull for the win, I think she could have got over 510, maybe 515 or something. And that's really close to her best performance. So everybody was like, okay, she's not in good shape. She's passing out twice and still be that close to her best result, which is really crazy. And it really gives you the idea of how much she is committed to what she's doing, to powerlifting.
It's wild. If anyone's ever passed out for whatever the heck reason, when you wake up, you don't know where you are initially. Like you wake up and you assume like you're half expecting to be in bed. That's where most of us wake up. And to wake up and to be like, oh my God, I'm in like all these people are surrounding you and you're in a freaking warm-up room. And oh yeah.
Or on the platform.
Or on the platform.
Because the second time it did
yeah.
happen on the platform.
But I can't imagine warming up. It hasn't even started. Passing out, waking up. You have all these people speaking all these different languages around you and your coach. And it's like, hey, you're at the World Championships in the middle of the biggest battle of your life. And she brushes herself off and is like, all right, let's keep it moving. And it's like, what? And yeah, load it. Do we drop? No, you don't drop. You hold. And you start hitting your squats.
But Ryan, what was crazy is that her deadlift opener was like 195 or something at the, during the competition, and then she raised it up to 210. And I said, what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, you passed out twice. You did a monster squat, and you're
Fearless.
Yeah.
You're pulling 210 on your opener.
Yeah.
When I think that her biggest deadlift on Instagram, it was 205.
Yeah.
So that was 5 kilo over the best performance she posted. And I was like, what's happening here?
It's the epitome of I'm going out on my shield.
Yeah.
I'm going out on my shield. I either win or I go out on my shield. Don't give a shit about any other medals. Whatever happens, happens after that. And when squats, we'll talk about squats with you ladies, but on her third squat, she passed out, and we're not talking she took a knee. She was out on her back, completely. They had to turn her over onto her back. You got to see her face, and she was like completely unconscious. And they're reviving her, and it took a while. It took a few seconds. She was completely out. Comes to, and she's like, whoa, what the heck? Like, again, like somebody waking up. And to find out you're waking up with a crowd now watching you. This is the second time. Again, international voices all around you. And her first instinct, give the thumbs up to like, and it's like, keep it pushing.
Yeah, and I saw her, she did post a story on her Instagram like, I'm still alive. Let's
Yeah.
show must go on,
I
or
missed
something
all
like
of
that.
this. I missed all the drama.
It's, did you hear about it, or are you just locked in
I
the
heard
zone?
about it afterwards, at the very end.
I think, Joy, I shall buy a lollipop for Sara next competition. Let her be in her
Locked
world.
in.
I was too,
That's
focused on
it.
the lollipop.
She's so locked in, she steps over Jad to get to the bar. I'm like, Jesus, locked in. But yeah, no, it was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And you know, they say like in your darkest hours, your finest hour. Now I understand this is sports, so it's a little bit dramatic. However, it really does show testament to like her heart, her will. When you're in this, it's scary. It was scary not being her. I can't imagine you keep passing out. You haven't gone through squats. You passed out twice with the world watching, and you don't back down at all. And you tell your coaches, do not lower those kilos. We are right to the end. She believed the last deadlift was there.
Yeah.
I want to skip past bench, but yeah, as well.
She kept pushing. She would not let that bar on the ground. It was really impressive to
Wild.
see.
Yeah.
The wildest. Yeah.
And Joy as well, of course, because when she got to the knee, I was like, come on. let it go.
So, we'll get to deadlifts in a second. Joy, your squats, how did they feel? You looked extremely strong. You're smiling through them. How did they feel on your end?
I guess they went okay.
Yeah.
Don't really remember, which means that there was nothing eventful. Nothing felt bad. Really pleased to have got the 180, so that's a 2.5 kilo PB in the 57 weight class. I'm just really happy about it. I really worked my ass off for that.
Did
So,
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
You made improvements, and you're going in. You had to bridge that gap somewhere, and everyone's watching, lean in, and like where the kilo is going to come from. We're in the squat event. You're going to have to hit some PBs to start bridging some gap, and you did. So did you feel? I don't know if you pay attention at all to what other ladies are doing on the platform or the scoreboard where you're falling, or do you just not?
I dip in and out. I think I had a look at the beginning, but at the beginning it doesn't really mean anything. And then that was kind of it, to be honest.
Yeah, because I think everyone knew, you got a monster deadlift. And depending how squats go for yourself and for everyone else, that deadlift is going to be pointed at, whatever medal. And if you're close enough, and we'll get to that, it could be for the gold. And obviously this was. So, but you needed to do your part first. If you have a bad squat day, you go 1 for 3 or something. Matt Gary has got to, actually Matt was doing Bobby Butters. Who was your handler again?
His name is Will.
Okay, there we go. It'd be a different conversation. But you did your part. You left. You got 3 for 3 in squats. Both of you ladies, 3 for 3 in squats. How did you guys feel after squats? Obviously, back to back, breaking the world record. Felt you must have been high on confidence, but how did you feel?
I obviously feel so good, and I moved well. I really think that I could have 200. So it's amazing. It's amazing to think about that for a 57 kilos woman. But now people know that it's possible to do 200 and maybe more in squat. So yeah, I feel good, obviously, and I don't know what else.
From my perspective, it was really thrilling because throughout the prep, she did great in squat, and I think that we do a little different compared to other people at her level now, because we are working a lot on box squats, safety squats, and such kind of stuff. So when we went back to competition style squat, at first I was thinking like maybe we can go out for 195 on her third attempt, but then she hit very smooth 195 like 1 month ago, I think.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I think you can hit 200 in this competition already, but I prefer to play it safe, because once we go 180, 190, 200, if we miss it, that's 10 kilo.
Yeah.
And that's
On the total.
bad. Yeah. So I said, let's try on our last heavy squat session to go for 197.5. That will do the job. And it's nearly 10 kilos over the current world record in that moment. So that is going to be good, and that is going to give us 7.5 more than the girl power total. And I was thinking that Joy could hit 180. So when I did see her putting up PRs, both in squat and in bench, because at GB Nationals you did put 97, I guess.
Yeah, but I've done 102.5 actually at 57. My bench is a long story.
But I can imagine. But I said at Nationals she hit 97.5, and I said I think she can have 2.5 more in squat, 2.5 more in the bench, and that's where we need to back up that improvement. And what I wanted to say, Joy, I've heard an interview from you saying you love squats, and that really impressed me. And I think that what you said is really relevant to people watching us now, because when you say, okay, I have bad leverages for a lift, then I must enjoy doing it, and that is really important, I think, for people training to say, okay, I'm not good at something, or you are good, of course, but that's not as good as your deadlift. And so if you have that kind of mood, it really does help a lot. And also all the things you said about how you live the sport, I think that's really something good. And I can see some of those things in Sara as well, because she is involved in an easier way, let's say, to compare to other people at her level. And I think that really helps in doing this sport at a high level for a long time. And I think that you're an inspiration in this. You really did inspire me with what you said, because I think when you had your first World Championship in 2017, you said, right?
2016.
Okay, 2016. So that's 9 years. That's really long. And I can see a lot of people come in and then disappear in like 1-2 years. And of course, as Ryan, you did say also that you love the sport, you still feel the magic, and I think that is a good way to keep that alive, and also keep just enjoying it and say, I go there, try to have fun, and that's I think that's the right spirit. I love it, really.
Yeah, talking about, first off, I know what you mean where technically speaking, her levers definitely behoove her as a deadlifter. But when you approach, if you have one that's tougher, your levers aren't helping you in squat, but you don't talk like negative. I hate squats. You hear people say, I hate whatever. And if you refuse, like, all right, don't talk negative about it. You have to do it. It's 1/3 of the competition. It's 1/3 of your training, etc. So that's big. But that's not surprising you approach it like that because you got a very positive outlook on things,
Try to be-
anyways.
try to be
And
positive.
squat is bad in itself when you train it because it's really heavy and it feels bad and your back hurts and all that kind of stuff.
Also, so a couple things you said though, I want to dive into that was interesting to me. First off, when you said we couldn't do 180, 190, 200, because if you miss 200, you're moving forward with 190, and with killers like you got Joy, Jad, Natalie Richards, you can't.
No.
You can't miss like that. And this is the freaking difference between when people are staying domestically and just blowing up a local meet where they have a huge total, or staying domestically and having huge totals at a nationals. Very good. And then they compare their totals at a local meet or a nationals to what you guys are doing at a Worlds. And it's like, you guys are not, it's not a fair comparison. No. Come to World, because at a meet when you're relatively unopposed, you can do 180, 190, 200. If you miss 200, oh well. Nobody's there to make you pay for it. But when you come to Worlds and you guys are making your plan and you got Joy Nnamani, you got Jad Jacob, you got Natalie Richards, try that there. Miss a lift and see what happens to you. You fall so far back. This is what people don't fully understand. This is where competition makes you have to be a lot tighter and a lot more calculated with the attempt selection you have. So anyways, I just wanted to throw out there. Another thing was when you talked about box squats, like, look, okay, I'm a little bit older, all right? I remember when people were doing like box squats and whatever. And I thought that like people, it's kind of gone away. Not obviously entirely, but I remember when squat variations were very popular, people doing tons of it. And then people started getting back to just bread and butter squats, not a lot of variations, volume. I mean, you stick around long enough, you'll see a lot of different trends. And with you guys doing 197.5 as a 57, and now you're like, well, we did box squats, we did safety bar squats. I guarantee you're going to start a trend now. All of a sudden, I'm going to see videos of people going, I'm bringing out the box. I need a box made. But how much do you think that helped in terms of like box squats, safety bar squats?
Okay, I told her to go first, but I will go first and then she will say her impression. So first thing, attempt selections. And that's something I've been in the game since 2013. And my wife actually was an equipped powerlifter. Whoa. She did her first international competition in 2015. So I was lucky because I had the chance to go with two of the Italian old coaches, let's say, old guard coaches. And they taught me a lot on that. And to be careful and to watch out and so on. And just imagine how Joy did pull 225, okay? Imagine if she just did miss her third attempt bench and her third attempt squat. That would be 10 kilo less. It means Joy does win with 230.5. Definitely she can do that. Definitely she can do that. So when you are in that kind of situation, and of course, Joy is not a surprise, luckily, because if she would have been a surprise and not posting nearly at all on Instagram, if she would be new to the scene, that would have been a very good recipe to suicide.
Right.
But imagine if you do miss first squat, 7.5 kilo, third bench, 10 kilo. That really puts you in the liquid shit.
Right.
Because then Joy needs 230.5, Jad needs 227, and she smoked 222. So that really shows how important it is. We've also been lucky in a way because we've had like 5-year battles in the 63s and are used to tight competition. So that kind of pressure is not new to us. But I think that Sara did know that she couldn't miss anything because all the world championship we have seen, all the people, the great lifters that were there, we were really aware that we have to be perfect throughout squat, bench, and build the total. And that's the reason why we didn't want to go for 200, because, you know, it's like 200, oh, come on, that's big number, big. I mean, she did 200 already in the 63, doesn't matter. I mean, from a mental point of view, we don't have anymore that thing of hitting 200 in competition. So that was good in a way. And I really think that it is something that coaches need to practice a lot and to study. But truth probably is that it is good that you make some mistakes during your career.
You learn from them.
So you learn from them.
Let me expand on that one sec, then we'll get back to the box squats.
I have a story about this that is funny, but...
Okay. So first off, yes, when that's that round number, being the first 57 to hit 200, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, what if we do that? It's so close. Well, like it gets tempting to like, what if we do that? And Heather Connor was actually on the podcast, the live stream, after she just won the 47s. And Heather Connor openly said, if the attempt selection was different for Team France, and particularly the bench press, if they didn't go for 105 and instead went for, because Turbo Tiff's PR bench coming into this in comp was 101.5. Her PR in the gym was 107.5. But where's your body weight at that time? What's the situation? It's totally different. But you come in thinking, I hit 107. They load up 105, even though that's quite a bit more PR. For 47 bench press, that is not a small number jump from 101 to 105. That's actually a very big PR in the 47 class for a bench press. And they load up 105. And in the commentary, me and Amelia are like, oh, when the battles is tight, that is a very bold move. You missed that. Instead, if you could have done 103.5, I got you. She ended up doing 102 in her second. It's only 1.5 kilos. And it might be like, what? Why not just go a little more? Because if you miss, that's 1.5 kilos you left. And sometimes it comes down to 1.5 kilos. You take 1.5 kilos off of her final deadlift?
No.
I
wouldn't
don't do it.
That.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you have to look at it. And Heather, sitting right there to my left, was like, I promise you, if you made me do 1.5 kilos more, Heather's saying, I don't think I would have done it. I think she would be the world champion. Yep. And I hope, and Turbo Tiff posted a story saying, you either win or you learn. And if there's any takeaways, hopefully Turbo Tiff Team France looks at that, listens to the opposition openly saying, you know, if you tightened up on a couple areas, you could be world champ. You could come back, live, learn from it, etc.
Yeah. The fun story, as I said, sometimes you need to do mistakes, is back in 2019 when Sara did win Junior Worlds. The week after, I was at Italian national competition, and I was coaching an athlete back then that was the former Italian Open champion in the 83s, dropped down to 74s. He did win in 2018 the Open Championship. And in 2019, it was his last year as a senior, and then he moved to Masters. He performed perfect on squat, perfect on bench. Then in deadlift, he missed the lockout. It was like 2-1 due to the shoulders not back. And I said, okay, we can win this, fuck it. Let's just go to the second attempt like normal, bombed out. And that was really bad. Because I was walking in there, you know, just won the World Championship. I was also coaching another athlete at that time, Angelini, who was bronze, who got bronze in the 74 juniors with the two US guy, crazy strong. And I was like really pumped up. And then 1 week after, bombing out with the current national champion.
Life will humble you, huh?
Life does humble you, and he was also a very close friend of mine. I think now it's been 6 years since then. He still bothers me with this. He still does.
He still brings it up?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And he's still pissed off for that. And I asked him, do you want to go up? And he said, of course. Why are you even asking for that?
Yeah. How do you feel, Joy, about missing a lift going up regardless?
not a good choice if that's the opener.
I've done it myself. I did it at Worlds last year, so I didn't get my second squat. I think it was originally given 177.5, and then the jury overruled it for depth, and then we went up to 182.5, and I got that. So I don't know. I don't know. What I think is a good thing is that it was someone else that made that decision for me. So it's not me being emotional or being demanding or thinking, hey guys, I promise you I've got it. It's actually someone else that looked from the outside and said, actually, she's got it. I believe in her.
But you know, Joy, the difference is that with your squat, it did have some margin and experienced lifter, and it was just due to depth. With that deadlift, it was not really good lockout, and I said, oh, come on.
Well, here's the thing. So if it's for depth, a technical reason, the first time.
Depth is a strength reason. Come on. Don't be silly.
It can be. Yeah, no, it surely can be. Because sometimes people cut it due to this feels heavy.
No, but if you're going a shorter distance.
This is exactly right. So this is what I'm saying. It looks technical, but it moved quick.
It's
and
a
then
completely different lift if it's a longer romp.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and even if let's say let's even say it's technical and it's not depth. Let's say let's say you missed the command to rack it. So full on technical, for sure. You hit depth, everything was there, and you just racked it too soon. So you're like, all right, let's go up 10 kilos because we know we could do that. And the problem is you missed the first one on a technicality. The next one you could miss on strength. And if you miss your first one, now you're in trouble because you can wait for the rack command, but you're not going to get stronger.
Yeah.
No. Right, that's
sometimes like some people compromise and take the middle ground, so they think, what would I have jumped to, and let's split that in half and see if we can get on the board with that. And I think that's a good way if you are really confident that you've got it, and to keep yourself, I guess, in the competition.
However, I will say, if I was yourself or you guys, anyone in actual contention, if you miss your opener and you actually have that conversation saying, look, if I was 10th, 11th, or like in the B session, and it's okay, don't risk bombing out. This is all about an experience, etc. You're not coming home with a world record. You're not coming home with medals. You're probably not going to contribute team points to your nation. You're here for you. I don't want to. It's not worth like we're fighting instead of 17th. We'll come in 16th. It's like no, you're going to get a total. We're going to get you a total. So you're going to retake the weight you missed. However, if you guys are in an insane battle, I think Chance Mitchell did this the year he won. You miss your opener. I've seen it more than just that, but you miss your opener. You have the conversation, and you might do an in-between, like you said, and I've seen that. Or you might be like, look, if we do that in-between, we're going to do 10. Instead of 10, let's do 7.5. And if you look at each other in the eyes and be like, if we go down 2.5 kilos, are we too far back? How close is this? And that was the 93s. It's like, yeah, I think you are too far back. Yeah, like, I think this definitely could. We just talked about Heather Connor and Jad, how 1.5 kilos makes a difference. I am okay with if in that moment it's like I am vying for a world title or at least a podium. I don't care. I understand I might bomb, but we cannot back down. I'm okay with that as well. It's when I see people who are in like 15th place, and it's like, you need not risk this. Like, it's okay. The difference between 15th place or 16th place, you're having a great experience. It's an international event. Soak it up. But your experience will be infinitely worse if you bomb. But the difference between 15th and 16th is not worth that risk. Whereas for you guys, you might be like at the end where she's like, we're pulling for gold. I'm not pulling to secure silver. Like it's different mentality, and I get that. What do you think?
I agree with what you said. Yeah. People come for different experiences. I was nominated third coming into the competition, but if you're nominated third, you're reaching for first. So that was my goal. But someone who's lower down, they'll have different goals. So it's just different. I don't know, different aspirations from different lifters.
Yeah, 100%. How do you guys feel about that? Would you miss it, like, because you guys were in a tight battle? If you missed an opener, would you raise it anyways? Even after what happened to you, you're a little scarred. Yeah, your friend's still bringing it up. Now it's your girlfriend. You can't walk away from it. What do you think? Would you want to?
I probably repeat the
Really?
weight. Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was my opener, I would repeat.
Yeah.
But
If
the
it's
decision
the
was made
opener.
for me to
Right.
go up last year.
Right.
If you miss your opener, I think that it's better if you do it again. If you miss your second, okay, you can go
I'm with
and,
Sara.
yeah,
We did that once when you hit the world record in squat.
exactly.
But what about in this battle? If you missed your opener and you repeated on your second, what would you have done for your third?
Maybe we can do the same third. That
No, because 180 in squat,
Yeah, yeah.
197. That's
okay,
stupid.
maybe not the same, but
That's just stupid. I did think about this scenario before the competition, and I thought, okay, if she does miss the squat in the opener due to whatever technical reason, and not on strength, of course, which was very unlikely to happen, but you never know. If that would have been the case, I think I would have chosen Joy's suggestion with just going up 5 instead of 10, and then in the third, 10 kilo jump instead of 7.5, and that would have been just 2.5 kilo less than the program. I think that would have been my choice. I don't suggest to do so, but in this kind of battle and with how she is and how she can handle the pressure, that would have been my choice. And I think, just to finish this topic up, that it really does depend on how you do see the athlete. We have been, I've been coaching Sara for like 8 years now, so I do understand how she feels. If she's in the right mood to go up, nevertheless, she did miss the opener, and that's something I think that it's the right thing to do. Just know who you're handling and decide how to move.
And the reason why it's tough, if you had done the instead of 10, like I'm just using these numbers as an example, instead of 10, you did 7.5. That's 2.5 kilos less.
Yeah,
Joy. So that's where it's like shit.
Yeah, but
Stay doing your normal third.
no, because if you miss the opener, it means that something is already going wrong. You know.
Maybe.
So if something is already going wrong, you can't improve it. You can just keep the pace. So you've already missed an attempt. That's it.
Yeah. It's so tough. I don't envy anybody who's handling, making decisions at this moment. So anyways, bench press. In the bench press, how did you guys feel after the bench press event? How did bench press feel for you in there?
yeah, it feels good. Yeah, I had a 2.5 kilos PR, so it's so good for me because my bench always is not really good, but I feel good. Yes. And I know that if I hit the third attempt in squat and the third attempt in the bench, with my second deadlift, I can secure the world record total and maybe the win. So after the third attempt in bench, I was really confident, really happy.
And you guys must have been, particularly you, paying attention to the rest of the ladies. How confident were you with everything, paying attention to the other ladies after bench press?
I was feeling really bad, honestly.
Really?
Because I thought, okay, we have to do this now. Because it means, I mean, once you're there, you have 6 out of 6, and it means you really are on the path for what you're aiming for. And so I said, okay, 205, that's easy. 215, that's yeah, that's true. That's true. I must be honest. When she came out on the second, I said, "Are you okay with 215?" And that's the reason because we have quite some strong athlete in Italy, and I was of course hoping that she gets the best GL points. So with 520, she she made that goal as well.
Do you mean amongst the Italians?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yes, because that's really something that you see Carola, that she's been so strong for such a long time. She really looked untouchable in a way.
Yeah.
And when we were in the juniors, it was all her record, and I said, why the hell do we have to be in this category with these crazy records? And it was really the only category with such high standard. So you have to grind your records and your results out there with all Carola's results. And then you say, okay, if I do hit the second attempt deadlift, then my score is better than her. That's something big. When you are like, I think that her first competition was like 2015, and she completely crushed every record that was out there, because when she did her first meet, she already did bench 120. So that was crazy, and yeah, that was special as well. So I was really feeling worried, because I say, okay, we are there, we are on the right path, and everything is moving good. And I've been thinking so many times before the competition how it could go. And when you have such a small girl with these big weights, things can go bad in really a leap of a second. And so that was like, okay, there we are.
Yeah, so we'll get to the last deads. For yourself, bench press, how did your bench feel on the day? And then the conclusion of bench press, when you're looking at your subtotal, everyone else's subtotal, and you have a monster deadlift, were you confident, all right, we're close enough, I did my job, I kept it tight?
Yeah, so bench, so I've had a bit of a shoulder issue for like years now, but it's very annoying. But still, I worked hard in training, and it was pain-free during the day. Looking at my bench one day, I know it was a bit uneven, but there wasn't any pain with that unevenness. So benching 100, I was so pleased with that, to not feel any pain, to get the lift, to get 6 out of 6. I was like, yeah, I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I came to do. Each lift from the first squat to the last bench, so all of those 6, it was just about, make sure you do it, Joy. You're strong enough for this. It's all about ticking the box and getting the lift on the board. So by the time we finished bench, I was like, I'm in a position to be able to reach for the win if I have to. And, it's down for me to execute. Obviously, things did not happen. Right. But after bench, I was in a good spot.
I'd agree. Now, so by the time bench and squat were done, for sure you were pacing greatly. And if you looked at the prognosis, the forecast showed, I forget exactly where you were, but you had a sizable lead. However, so I remember in the live stream saying, look, Sara has a very big lead. As soon as she hits her opening deadlift, you were very close to already like your previous PR, the record, etc. But in doing the math, and I don't remember exactly the math on the forecast to the opening pulls, but I remember quickly looking and saying, if somebody could catch you coming up from behind, Joy's deadlift could do it. And she just needed to hit, because she hit all of her lifts coming into deadlifts. So she'd built upon a base. If she needed to throw that big bomb Hail Mary, I'm using American football here. That's not big with either one of you guys, but she was within reason. And in quickly doing the math, the spread between you guys and the rest of the field, it was big, but she has a very big weapon. And it was, we'll get to that final pull. So are you guys, are you looking at the subtotals yourself and actually doing any math about it going into deadlifts, or are you still kind of like, put the blinders on and just doing your job?
Me personally wasn't doing a lot of work, although coming into it, I was confident that 240, I had 240. I knew it would be my max. And then I think at some point I realized that that's the number I'll need for the day. 240.5, 240 is the same. It's obviously not, it wasn't, but you know what I mean. But I knew it was just about execution to me. I knew I had the strength to do what I need, what would catch Sara. I just didn't do that bit. Well,
it was a hell of a show, and it came really close. I'm sure you guys had some tense moments. So in going into deadlifts, obviously Jad and Joy both pulling for the win. Was it unfolding as you thought after you hit your final deadlift? Did you feel as though you had done enough? Like, okay, we're safe. You did because you did phenomenal. It was a world record. You're temporarily in gold medal position, but how did you guys feel? Because it's very unenviable to be like, my day is done. Now I have to sit back and watch these ladies, the biggest deadlifters the 57 kilo class has ever seen, both of them world record deadlift, and they both get to have their say.
Before the competition, I really hope that 520 will be enough. I really hope that.
Yeah.
Because during the prep, my deadlift didn't go so good. So I really hope that 215 will be enough. But when I saw Jet second and Joy second deadlift, I think, okay, we need to do the third attempt in deadlift, and I know that I have to try 220. And when I miss it, I was so scared. I look at him and I saw.
It's over.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's over.
I saw it's over.
Oh no!
Yeah, I really thought that
It's over.
that Joy can pull her third deadlift.
No, she told me that both were going to pull the.
Yeah, both, but when
You're like, wow, we got bronze.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's okay.
that was what she said. Really.
Really? Wow. So, because you celebrated after the second pull, and it was a world record. Of course, you're going to celebrate, right? It's phenomenal achievement regardless. But yeah, so you were definitely uncertain. So, in watching them, was it high anxiety, or were you almost already telling yourself you're resigned to it? So it wasn't actually as anxious. I'm sure because you must have been watching, right? When you were in the back? Did you watch the monitor and watch Jad's final pull?
Yeah,
Enjoys?
I watched the monitor, but he tells me, Sara, come on, don't watch the monitor, come on.
Oh,
come
really?
on. Yeah. So, yeah, I know what was happened, and sometimes you only have to watch and so what the ladies can do.
It actually made for, like, in viewing, I know it's very difficult for you at the time, but in viewing, when you miss and open up that door for them, it made it far more entertaining to watch, because all of a sudden, if you would hit that, it'd be harder and harder and harder for Jad and Joy.
Yeah.
But you missing opened up the door for that possibility of, oh my gosh, it's not over after all. And as a viewer, even though it's probably really difficult for you guys, you want people pulling for the win right up to the very last deadlift. It makes it far more entertaining. How about on your end, Joy, when you seen that they missed the last deadlift? What are you thinking? Oh no, you guys just fumbled the ball and I'm about to pick it up. Or what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
I was thinking about it from my perspective. So it wasn't about them fumbling the bag. It's like, Joy, you've got to go and do your thing now. So deadlift training is, I guess it had gone well. It's over the last few weeks and months, Dom and I, my coach, we'd done, the training was kind of different to previously. So actually, you know, day to day, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm going to pull 240 when I got to Worlds. But then, you know, I knew, adding all up what I've done, I've got 240 today. So I just knew it was just about doing the job on the day. I'd enjoyed training, like bench. And, you know, all free lifts, actually, I worked my ass off for months, okay? I earn every kilo. And I went into the competition yesterday feeling like I can pull what I deserve to pull. So when it transpired that it'll be 240.5, I was like, I can do that. I have the ability to do that. Just about doing it right. I didn't do it right, I did it wrong. You know, there are some lifts that I can get away with mis-executing, but not 240. You know, if I'm going to do it, it has to be perfect. So even my opener, 210, I didn't do that well. It moved quickly, but that wasn't a joy lift. Not proud of that one. 225 was a bit better. Still feeling strong, still feeling confident. It just wasn't there. Well, no, I just didn't do it. And, you know, Sara, an absolutely worthy winner. So I'm pleased with how the day ended, but I wish for myself I had executed a little better.
What was off on the execution there?
I think sometimes when it's really heavy and newish, I'm thinking, yeah, I got to lock this out. And I was like locking it out before I, you know, even got it anywhere. My knees locked early. I forgot all about patience, to keep my legs out, to keep my torso, you know, kind of up. Just too eager, rather than being patient. But I don't know, it's kind of tricky. So 240.5 is also the same lift I missed in Malta in 2023 to get the bronze in the 63s. Yeah. And actually back then I did not, there was no world where I thought I could do this.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
But you were very close.
I was so close. I say there's no world where I believed I could do it. I believe I did it. Listen, the referees gave me two red lights. I accept that. I didn't get the lift on the day, but, you know, I locked it out. It was clean enough for me, but not clean enough for them, and I accept that.
Fair.
But, you know, when you have people that believe in you more than you do, then the only way to honour that is to do your best and give it, like, a good shot. So
That's well said. Yeah, that's well said. And this time around, you full well believed you could do this.
Yeah, I believe I could do it.
Well, you know what?
But I didn't.
It came, you got it up to the knees. And yeah, if a little eager, whatever, it is what it is. It's difficult not to be when gold medal, a massive moment. But it came right up to the knees. And for a second there, it looked like, oh my gosh, she's going to do this. Holy smokes. What were you guys thinking when you watched and it came up to the knees that quickly and looked like it might happen?
Yeah, I thought that that it's over. That she can pull and win. What else?
I was doing the math, of course, during the competition, and I said, okay, if we get only our opener, Joy just needs 230.5. Definitely she can do that.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So when second 240.5, that could be an issue for her, but still in the possible area, let's say. And when I did see her second and Chad second, I looked to the other Italians there, and we were like, "Oh shit, we need to hit 220. We really need that." Because even before I did see them, I was like, "Oh, I put in 225, but if they're not going to lift well, the second, we will not even try the third, in order not to raise the record too much." And when I did see it, I said, "Oh shit, we really need to do this." And when she did miss, that was really frightening in a way, because I think that they both could have done it. I mean, in that moment, both Jade and Joy could have got their third attempt, and it would have been a bronze medal, breaking the world record of that. Crazy. Really. That's crazy.
Legitimately. And also, let's talk about Jade for a second here. Passing out in the warm-up for squat, passing out on her third squat. I'm more used to seeing people pass out on deadlifts. I would have assumed it would have came, okay, no. Bench, you were okay.
Fired up.
But when deadlifts rolled around, I'm thinking this is going to come back. Whatever the heck was going on squats was going to come back. And the way she was smoking, opener, second pull, you guys must have been thinking she just won't go away, huh? Like, she is not going away. She is like, I be damned. It wasn't like a token, just happy to be here. I had to adjust, a moral victory to finish with a total. Like, that happens. You know, you see someone get injured or something happens early on in the day, they adjust and the numbers way go down, but they finish with a total. And it's like, hats off for you for finishing the day. For her, it's like, no, No. That's not good enough. I'm a lion. I'm a champion. I'm going out. I'm going for the win. In that final pull, it came off the ground on the right side. She was hanging on and fighting for her life for that final deadlift. Long after everyone watching was like, it's not going to go. She was like, I'm pulling until I got no pull left in me. And I thought she was going to pass out again, but she just refused. Heart of a lion. It was incredible to watch.
It was.
Yeah.
And it was, from my side, of course, it was easier because it didn't move. So I said, okay, she's fantastic. She's really trying it all. But when I saw Joy coming up until her first bump, I was like, oh shit, she's doing it this time. Because I remember I was on my wedding trip after when she was competing in Malta, and I've seen that I was in Madagascar when she was lifting. I was watching it and I said, this girl is crazy. And I did remember you got it 2-1. You didn't get it 2-1, and I said, okay, this time she's going to do it because she was already so close to do it, and she was very. The speed of the follower was insane. So I said, okay. Hats off, you did great, and so that I can understand when you say this is really what people watching are willing to see. So that's really that was really good, and it's you say you get on the top of the world. You can relax. No, no relax at all.
No. Well, you know what? That's a good segue because I was going to ask you guys. So now we're moving forward. The 57s are extremely stacked. Natalie Richards, whatever she was dealing with, she's going to be 100% next time. Jad Jacob, she looked, like to your point, didn't look that off to me this time. I mean, she was right up in the game.
I just want to say, like with Jad, though, all the things that we saw her go through yesterday, and she carried on. Imagine the things that we haven't seen. Yeah. You know,
good point.
Scary in a way.
Great point. Great point. Yeah, she talk about fortitude under adversity. It's it was pretty inspiring in and of itself. Moving forward, I think the 57s, they're always uber stacked, but now it feels like it's getting crazier and crazier. We have 4 world champions now. Like all 4 of you that I just mentioned have won world titles in the 57s. It is clustered. I mean, I can't wait to see the showdowns. You're planning on sticking around at 57, or what are your future plans?
Yeah, I will stay as a 57 for Sheffield, of course, and for Worlds next year. Yes, I will stay as a 57 because I have to do a national this year in the same category, so I will stay in 57. I'll do Worlds next year as a 57. And maybe for the second Sheffield, if I will be going there, maybe we can think about 52.
And yeah, exactly. And 52s, you saw the 52s the day before. An amazing battle between Megan Lee Smith, Evie Corrigan, Evie, for the first time in a long time. I mean, usually the last 2 times anyways, she won not having to pull her final pull. Not the case this time. She was behind. She was literally behind, having to go out and pull for the win. And Megan Lee Smith, when she hit that deadlift, realizing she put herself into first place, if temporarily, and let out that yell that she did, that war cry. I asked Evie, were you watching? She goes, I wasn't watching, but I heard. I heard, and I knew, all right. I knew what that meant. Get ready. Start chalking up your hands. You're going out. Absolutely incredible battle. When you see that, does it give you excitement to be like, okay, I mean, if I get back in there and to join that battle and you hit 520, what you might be able to bring to the 52s, even if your total decreases a little bit, you might be the first 52 to hit 500 kilos. Are these things that excite you?
Yeah, I think that it's possible to do.
Especially if it happens at Sheffield. Yeah. That'd be a lot of things got to happen. A lot of things got to happen first, but you got to dream big, right? Yeah. And what do you think this does, both you, for Italy as a whole, not just your win, but Italy, obviously, Annalisa, phenomenal in the 47s. And the 47s are like the 52s, like the 57s, getting better and better and better all the way through. It's not just one person anymore. It could be anybody. Annalisa in the 47s, yourself 57s, 63s, Chiara, 69s, Corolla. In terms of Italy now on the world competition every single day, is this on the rise? Italy's on the rise, and this momentum's going to carry forward.
Yeah, it's on the rise. And for the first year, maybe we can win medals as a nation. So I'll open.
I see. Last year, Italy got bronze medal in the teams.
I don't remember.
What do you think? Maybe this year then, with you just collected 12 points. Annalisa came in fourth. She'll collect. She's collecting points.
7.
Yeah. What do you guys think this year then? What are your expectations from Italy?
In Italy, we never speak about sports
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
before it happens.
That's
so
fair. Like the men's U.S. sweep. We all know what happened there. Be careful.
So that's something in Italy we definitely don't do. But I do think that the women's level is going crazy. I remember when it was literally Carola, my wife, and another girl, that is Sara Mazzantini. I think she got silver in the 69 Worlds 2021. It was the 3 of them. So now we see that we do have like Annalisa, 4th place, Sara, gold medal. Then we have Chiara and Carola, several time world medals. So that's 4 people that are in the top 4 spot, probably. I don't want to give them bad luck, but reasonably we can look for a podium finish for both of them. And then we have also Giorgia Bertone, who is probably going to finish in the top 10. So that's already 5 ladies doing very good. And there are other girls that are rising up as well. I am coaching another 63 who just squatted 200 at nationals. So the level is really growing up. And to have these girls is really bringing up the level overall, because as we say, okay, these kind of things are possible, you know. Carola going to Sheffield, Sara now also going to Sheffield. We can be at that level in Italy. So it really brings the people inside the sports, and it gives the idea to the girls that they can fight for that kind of level. So when you go at a national championship, national open championship, the competition is really strong, and all the girls are training hard, are willing now to train hard, because they do see that it is possible to reach that level. So that's I remember when I first saw Joyce's numbers in the deadlift, I thought those numbers were just not humanly possible. So it's just a matter of bringing up the limits and to see it more and more. And the more people are in the sport, they see what things can be done, and they just do it in the end. So I think that Italy is on the rise due to many reasons. Coaches are good, there is a good sports culture, and there is support from SPD as well. Also other companies like Strength Shop, they are doing a good job out there. So I think that it is just the whole scene that is helping things to improve a lot.
I think what's healthy on the women's side is the diversity of nations. Yeah. On the men's side, while the U.S. men, the sweep obviously didn't happen, but they're pretty dominant and strong over there. But on the women's side, from France to Britain to Italy, like you got stars coming out of Poland, like Agata Shitko, to it's still the U.S. women are always in the hunt, of course, but it's very diverse, which helps. So when you tune into the World Championships, the reach and the views are coming from all over the world. And day to day, if you're a nation, whatever nation you're from, you probably have somebody in the hunt. You probably have somebody hang out like day 3. You got a shooter in there who might get a world title. It helps. It helps the sport grow when it's not a sport that's dominated by 1 or 2 nations or a few nations. Sweden. I mean, I probably keep going on and on the more I think about it.
Just think about a small nation like Malta. Yesterday they got a gold medal
Yeah.
on the bench, I guess. So
Yeah.
you see, that's really important for having the sport spread all around.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think about powerlifting in Britain? The current state of affairs for the powerlifting in Britain, is it growing? Is it holding firm? What are your thoughts on that?
I think in the last few years, there's been a lot of like massive exponential growth, mostly from younger lifters. So people starting much younger than I was when I started. And you think, oh, what was I doing at that age? You know, like wasting my time watching TV or something, rather than getting strong. But honestly, it's good. It's that, you know, so many things have contributed to it. So social media is a good catalyst for spreading the enjoyment from powerlifting and recruiting people from there. The different nations, like you say, who have experienced success, that's a good inspiration for people local to them to get involved. So in Britain in the last few years, so much more participants, so much more interest, so much more activity. And with that, and with, you know, internationals alongside it, our federation has wanted us to be, I guess, up there with America and all the strong nations that come and get team points. They want us to be in that mix, and we are. We really are. So at nationals, we have standards that people have to meet to get onto the team. So some years ago, it was ordinary for the winner to be chosen. And sometimes that can mean that, you know, someone who's not as competitive on the world stage. But now they're really thinking about the quality of the athlete which they're selecting. And, you know, I think that's lots of encouragement and motivation for people to go and get stronger. And people have really stepped up, you know, met that criteria. And I think you've seen it in the medals we've collected over the last few years, world champions that we've got over the last few years. It's, you know, an exciting time in Great Britain. So
100% co-sign that. You got, first off, characters like Jurens. He's got his own podcast. He's got the personality for a podcast. But for him to do what he did in Lithuania, huge win over none other than Russell Orhe, who arguably the biggest star in powerlifting or in the conversation anyways. Huge for not just Jurens, but Britain as a whole. And then, but not only that, you have, you know, now he's 20, but you would have teenage sensations like Nanzo, who are doing insane things where it's like, oh my gosh, like what he's doing at 20 years old and what he might do moving forward. You have your own social media influencers like Nathaniel, Messiah, who are just phenomenal following, so they could reach, to your point about reaching masses. And if someone's on social media and like, I'm kind of strong, I go to the gym, but they don't know what avenue, you find one of them, you're like, oh, all right, wasn't sure this was an avenue. Kind of probably why some of these younger generation, we are able to recruit them. When you were 19, you know, it probably wasn't an avenue you're going to find. Hopping online and be like, oh, there it is. So, yeah, we have a net to catch that talent and that youth. And I think it's all a combination of all of those, to be honest with you. But, yeah, I'm glad to see we are healthier when more than just a couple nations are winning. And I think right now in powerlifting, we're seeing a lot of big growth. How about yourself, Joey, in terms of the future, some of your future goals? You said you were going to stay at 57. What does the next couple of years look like for you, do you think?
couple years.
Wow, or 4 or 5? What's your 10-year plan? What's your retirement plan? Let's go deep.
Well, it's June. Let's talk about to the end of the year.
Okay, fair. All right, let's talk about
I can do that much.
Okay.
So we'll have nationals in December. So I'll do that probably at 57. I'm just too... I should move to 63. I'm just too lazy to do it properly. Like, I can't be bothered with that stuff. If I was going to do it properly, make sure I'm eating a lot of protein, eating more. It's not stuff I'm interested in tracking, so I know I'm not going to do it, so there's no point pretending.
You know what? I mean, selfishly, I love you as a 57 because this is too good to.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. I was gonna say, like, I think anybody watching is like, nah, just stay. This is amazing. Let's run it back. I know it's probably exhausting right now the next day. Like, oh my God, we gotta think about that.
Yeah, we're all tired.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone else is like, oh my God, I want to see it again.
Yeah, I mean, so I can imagine it was so fun to watch for the spectators, but you wouldn't have seen that behind the scenes at the end. We were just all having such a good time behind the curtain, you know, congratulating each other, hugging each other, just enjoying, you know, all of us who came out yesterday to really put on a show. And we were talking about it, especially Jad mentioning how, you know, I've come back to the 57s. Natalie is healthy again and she's here. I'd never lifted against Natalie. We've got Sara who came from the 63s and showed us how to lift yesterday. You know, it's just really exciting and fun.
100%. And sorry, were you gonna say something? Or okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. No, and that picture you guys took was amazing too. You guys are all smiles afterwards. Like, I love that you guys all got together for that group photo because the way the day started, it was dicey. You know, with Jad passing out, etc. You're like, you hope the event doesn't get marred with some kind of a negative storyline attached to it. Like, yeah, but it's sad that this happened. Not the case. Not the case. It just adds to the legend that session was, adds to Jad's profile in terms of the heart that she has in the battle that you ladies put on, I believe. And even if you end up going 52, which I'll be honest, I think is probably like 100%. Yeah, if you think you could do the 52 with a water cut, and Sheffield is probably the place to do it, and all of a sudden, yeah, I think that's probably a good idea as well. But if we have one more year with you, Sheffield World Championships, my gosh, let's run it back. If you're able to, at Sheffield, if they bring in a 57, who would you like to see with you to battle it out? Whoever came in last.
Oh my God. Probably Jed. I think that she's amazing. What she did yesterday is really unbelievable. So yeah, I probably say Jed. But of course, even Joy.
Yeah.
I'll be the wildest card.
Oh, the wildest. I love the term, the wildest of wild cards. Listen, ladies, thank you for showing up. I know it's not easy. The very next day, probably didn't sleep a whole heck of a lot. You guys are adrenaline, the whole nine. So I really do appreciate you guys coming here today. Congratulations. Well done. Congratulations, sir. Joy, I am ever so grateful when you show up to these battles because we needed you. It would have been the same if you weren't there. And thank you for showing up. Much appreciated. And for everybody else, we got another podcast later on today. I can't even remember the schedule. God bless 3:00, and God bless Ramsey for scheduling all this. 13 podcasts. I counted it. My dude, holy smokes. I should have capped you at 10, but that's fine. No, I joke. I love it. Commentating every day. It's a lot, but it's well worth it. So as per usual, please do subscribe, give us high ratings, and until